Okay, we're live. Vanessa.
Oh, can you hear me? Hello.
Yeah, I can hear you, Miss Vanessa. I can hear you.
Okay. Good morning from everywhere you're watching us from. This is Morning Focus, a 1 hour breakfast and mindshare program with Coach Sam, organized by Sam Network every Monday at 10 a.m. to empower us on our personal development, leadership, entrepreneurship, relationship, marketing, branding, content development, to mention a few. If you haven't subscribed to this our YouTube channel, I humbly encourage you to do so now so you don't miss any of the live session. I am Vanessa Santos, your host on Monday Focus, and I have here with me Coach Sam. Coach Sam, it's a pleasure having you in this room. Today
All
will
right.
ignite and empower us on a much deeper level. So I'm here to hear from you.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much, Madam Vanessa, for really making mention of my name. So it's really a great honor to really be with you in the room. And I know that today's message is really going to be very empowering. It's really going to be it's not just only going to be informational or inspirational, but also it's really going to be very mind blowing. So thank you so much, Madam Vanessa, for really having me on this show with you.
Sure. Thank you too. We are very grateful to have you too. Okay, to our participants and viewers, we say thank you for joining us. You could have chosen to be everywhere, but you chose to be here with us on Morning Focus. You are all welcome. So as we are about to start, kindly share this live and stream it with others so the empowered message can be a blessing to them. So without much ado, let's jump right into the empowered message today. With some have for us.
Okay. So once again, thank you so much, Madam Vanessa, for that wonderful introduction you have actually shown to our audience out there who is really watching us live. It's really another week, and we know that the first day of the week is a day where we have to do something different that maybe possibly we couldn't do last week. I always tell people that the only way you can actually become great, or the only way you can actually stand out, or the only way you can actually become the best version of yourself, is when you ensure that you do something you have never done yesterday. That is the only way that you can actually get more closer to greatness. So we know that today's topic, all right, is really interesting and it's a very powerful one because we have been able to actually have great people today. We have icons. We have people who have actually leave a legacy behind. We call them our legends simply because they actually unleash something really powerful within them. We wouldn't have actually known people like Nelson Mandela. We wouldn't have really known people like Les Brown. We wouldn't have actually known people like great people that we actually have. We wouldn't actually know them if they have not really unleashed the powerful tool that God has really placed inside of them. And that is really the power of their gifts. All right. So today, as Madame Vanessa has really said, let's feel free to share the link with other people so that they can also be empowered by today's message. So today's topic has to be, something that it really interests me a lot because when I see people actually doing what are not really aligned to really become alive, it gets me really moved, and I get more really concerned about the kind of life they're really living. haven't really said that the reason why, and most importantly, this very topic, all right, we are looking deeper into how you can turn your gifts into business. All right, how you can convert your gifts into business. And this is very important because gifts actually makes more room for you. All right, gifts actually make you live life fully before you actually die empty. So for the next 30 minutes, I'm actually going to use with hopefully maybe we have some questions. Maybe as time goes and when other people are really joining us. So let's do it to actually prepare a question. We can drop it in the comment box on our YouTube channel, and then we do it to actually attend to you. Now, why is gifts really very important in this modern world we are really living? Most of the time I tell people that gifts is very important because it makes you really live life fully before you die empty. Gift is actually a powerful tool because it makes you live the best version of yourself. It makes people really identify who you are and what you're really becoming. All right, without gifts, you will end up actually, competing with other people. And most of the time, I always tell people that when you use your gifts and you utilize it fully well, you realize that you stop competing with other people. All right, you stop getting distracted by the need for you to really get jealous of somebody else when God has already placed something inside of you for you to really stand out. So in other words, gifts actually make you stop competing with other people, and it makes you rather really stand out. And something amazing happens when you unleash your gifts. All right, when you unleash your gifts, you realize that you discover yourself. All right, the moment you actually unleash your gift, that is actually the moment you actually discover yourself. And I've actually had an encounter with people, all right, saying that how can they really use their gift to actually, turn it into a business. All right, but before I really go into that, let me just really, share some stories of an encounter I really have with one of my mentees. And he wanted to really start a business for herself. And one of the things I was so surprised with was when he really asked me that, Coach Sam, can you give me some recommendations of the type of business I can really do so that I can actually look at them and, go deeper into really doing them. But my response to him at that very moment was, I can't really give you any recommendation until I really know the gift that you actually carry. All right. And I'm saying this because these are some of the mistakes that a lot of people really do. All right. They go for recommendations simply because of what other people, suggest to them, only to realize that by the time they venture into that thing that actually recommended, all right, they find themselves really struggling towards it. All right, they don't really find joy really doing it. They're not really happy doing it. All right, the money they're supposed to really make, they're not really making it. All right, they are not really standing out in their own way. Why? Because you are going into something that you are not really gifted at. So I just want to say this message, especially to the youth out there, that if you want to start a business, don't ever approach people to recommend the kind of business you can really do. First of all, identify your gifts. It is very, very important. Once you really identify your gifts, then your gifts will actually make more room for you. Like I said, your gifts actually know exactly what you really want to be in life or what you really want to do in life. All right. Once you really identify your gift, like I said, a lot of people are really going to get to know you. Now, let's actually dive more deeper into some certain things. I haven't known the importance of gifts. All right. Let's go deeper into some of the things that we can do or we can pay attention to. And I really want to focus on the practical tips of what you can really do in order for you to convert or turn your gifts into a business. All right. And most of the time I tell people that your business is simply your mandate or your existence to the world. All right. Because the only way you can actually identify your business you really want to do is when you have been able to actually identify your gifts. All right. Now, I will just share some few tips with us, hopefully within 30 minutes that we actually have, so that we can actually give room for any question. Maybe the host or the facilitator can really ask some questions to really make it more engaging. All right. This is so powerful that the only way you can actually discover it is when you start paying attention to your inner self. All right. People cannot really discover your gift for you. You are the one that really knows yourself better than everyone else around you. All right. So you want to ensure that, and I always say something that God has already placed your gift inside of you already. All right. Gift is not something you go to school to learn. Gift is not something you have to really go to college or university or you study your masters to actually learn. All right. That is not how gift really function. The gift has already been placed inside of you. So the question is, what are you doing to nurture it? Now, how can you actually identify your gifts so that eventually you know the type of business you really want to do? I want to actually give a scenario in my life that was actually way years back when I was trying to really discover myself, especially when I was actually in my secondary school, because I've always had the mindset, I've always had the intention of studying medicine. All right, I was really obsessed when it comes to medicine, and when I finished my secondary school, so I applied for a medical school, but unfortunately I couldn't really reach the cut-off mark, so I was being offered an admission to study another course. But I know when I was actually in my 70s and my 80s, in my 18s, sorry, I know deep within there are some certain things I'm not really paying attention to. So I was listening to, the environmental factors. I was listening to the people's opinions or suggestions, but I wasn't paying attention to what's actually inside of me. And quite so well, I got an admission, only to realize that down the road, when I was doing my internship and I was actually in the medical field, all right. Even though I know that I was very good at everything, but I knew deep within myself, I wasn't really following my gifts. All right. And I'm really going to share one of the practical tips for you to know in order for you to identify your gifts. It became a transformational moment in my life when I listened to what is actually inside of me. I began to really ask myself. I can remember the very day I was in my dark hours. All right. I was in my room all alone. And I just really want to share this very tips with you so that you can actually help identify your gifts. Rather than going out there, rather than seeking out a prophet to actually tell you exactly what what you need to do in order for you to identify your gift. They are not the one that is really going to tell you your gift. It's rather inside of you. And the scripture really said that greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world. All right, we need to understand that we are God's temple. And that really means that God is already inside of you. And if you pay attention, especially if you actually meditate, you realize that God can really speak to you when you are really meditating. Ideas will start coming into your head. Now, in order for me to really help explain this, I was in my dark room because deep within myself, I wasn't really happy with what I was really doing as a then. So I asked myself, and I was all alone in my room, and I asked myself, what is that one thing that I'm very good at, but I don't really struggle with most of the time? What is that one thing I just really do naturally? All right. When I'm actually idle, when I'm not really doing mad things, I just see myself automatically, inclining myself into them. And something amazing happens when you are really meditating. And I really want to emphasize on this because it is very important that you launch into a business knowing that you are really identifying the right gift for yourself. It is very important because once you launch into a business and you are launching into it using the wrong mindset of the kind of gifts you really want to acquire in the place of actually achieving them, if it's not really taken, you will be misled. All right. So I asked myself, what are some of the things that I'm very good at? And amazing that happens when you meditate. All right. It is actually the power of meditation. When you meditate, it is a sign that you really want to get connected to God. All right. Something amazing happens when we are reading scripture, when we are really praying. All right. I always tell people that the most important part of your prayer is simply meditation. There are some times that we have to stop praying and have to listen to what God will have to tell you. And the only way you can actually get to know is when you're really meditating. So I can remember when I was actually meditating on what exactly I'm very good at, and ideas start coming into my mind. And other then I realized that I'm very good at speaking. All right. I talk to people, I empower people, I try as much as possible to guide them when they're having challenges in the area of their personal development. I realize that I'm very good at counseling people, I'm very good at guiding people on what they exactly need to do. So I realized that speaking is actually part of me. All right. I already acquired this when I was actually in my 70s and my 18th, years old thereabouts. So I asked myself, now that I've been able to actually identify my gift, which I know that other people doesn't even recommend to me. So what I did was, what kind of profession can I really align myself? to that gift so that I find myself within the confinement of what I'm really passionate about. So when I begin to ask myself, well, I could become an educator, because as a speaker, you can actually educate people. You can become an educator. I also realized that I could become a public speaker. All right. I also realized that I could become a counselor. And all of these things are a profession that falls in line with your own gifts, not the recommendations of other people. All right. So when I began to see that, and I realized that I could become a potential speaker. And that was when I started building my brand around that area. Before I really started, forming my organizations and forming the kind of brand I really want to work with. And I realized that I can't really do everything now alone. So I've got to actually work together with other people. So in order for you to really identify your gift, one of the things that you have to really pay attention to is your meditation hour. Asking yourself what you are very good at. So then aside that, I also realized that I'm also very good at designing. I'm just really giving an example so that we can all understand how gifts really function, that your gifts cannot really be discovered by other people. Your gift can actually be discovered by you. And you alone can be the ones who actually build it. Waiting for other people to actually build a gift for you is a waste of time. You just have to understand that you have a bigger role to play, about 95% of roles for you to really play, in order for you to really not only unleash your gift, but also really develop your gifts and make it become an empire that a lot of people are really looking for to get them really transformed. So I realized that I was very good at designing. All right, I could just be in front of a computer, and all of a sudden I start finding myself designing. And I realized that, okay, you know what? Why don't I really venture into graphic design? Why don't I really venture into website design? So I decided to actually look at some of the occupations or some of the professions that I can actually launch to in the process of actually discovering my gifts. So the moment I started discovering that I also like drafting content, all right, I'm a kind of person right now, I can just really draft the content, all right, and just create, without even necessarily having to go to Google or maybe try to make a research. I'm just the kind of person, I just sit down. All right, it's actually the power of creativity. So I just realized that I'm just before I know, or before I realize, a lot of content has been written down, and because of the fact that I'm creating, I'm thinking about when I push out this very content, how are other people really going to say it? Because that's actually another way. If you are drafting any content, make sure that you communicate to the minds of people beyond yourself. That's the only way you can actually create a compelling content that at the end of the day is to drive more people to you in your business. So I don't really want to go deeper into that. So when I began to realize that this is my gift, then I now started discovering that, wow, so I could really do great. I've had people like Les Brown. They are really one of my greatest mentors of all time. All right, TD Jakes, one of my greatest mentors of all time. All right, so I realized that I could really become like them, even despite the fact that I didn't got any recognition from other people. So what can I do to start building, all right, my gifts? I'm very good at coaching people. I'm very good at counseling people. So when I identified the gift, then I started building my brand. All right, and this is what is really going to be leading us to how you can turn your gifts into your business. Now that you have been able to actually identify your gifts by meditating, by asking yourself, what is that one thing I'm very good at? Now, the next thing you want to start doing is start building your brand. All right. Now, the only way people are really going to recognize you, all right, people might sometimes get to know exactly what you really carry. That's fine. But sometimes you also have to really stand out by your brand, so that when people look at your brand, they realize that this is what Vanessa, or this is what Thomas is really very good at, or this is what Sijane is really very good at. And they can, and when they see your brand, they can actually see you, because you are the one that actually, formed or built, that very fundamental organization really we are really building. So once you have been able to actually identify your gift, the next thing you want to pay attention to is how you can actually build a brand, and your brand will definitely lead you to your business. Vanessa, I hope I'm really loud enough. I hope you can hear me clearly.
Yeah, I can hear you clearly.
Yeah. So once we have been able to actually identify our gifts, then the next thing we want to start doing is how we can build a brand. All right. But before you start building brand, it is very important that, all right, now that we've been able to actually identify your gifts, then the next thing you want to do is to, because I believe that the reason why God really put your gift inside of you is simply because there are so many problems out there that falls in line with your gifts. that God is trying to tell you, use that gift to actually solve problems. All right. Now, I've been able to actually give us a clue, an example of how some of the things, maybe yours is you are very good at accounting, like you are very good at calculating something, then you can actually link it down maybe to an accountant profession. All right. Maybe yours is you are very good at maybe football. All right. You like playing football and you're very skillful at it. It is something that's already been inside of you. Then eventually you can actually become a professional footballer. All right. And all of these examples goes on and on. And this is the only way you can actually start recognizing your gifts. And once you have been able to actually identify your gifts, you need to understand that you need to reach out to more people. All right. Your gift is actually there for one reason. Your gift is not only for you. Your gift, God really gave you your gift simply because it wants you to also really empower other people. It wants you to actually become a problem solver in the society or the community you actually find yourselves. So if you have a gift and you're only telling people about it, but you're not using it to solve problems, this is the one reason why a lot of people are really living a frustrated life. Because they're only set out on themselves, but they don't want to solve no problems. All right. And most of the time, when you're solving problems, don't seek for the money first. And let me also really say this and be honest with, especially the audience that is really watching me live. Do you know that inside your gift is embedded the money you are looking for? Do you know that inside of gifts embeds the passion that you are trying to really figure out or really doing? Do you know that inside of your gifts is that greatness you are looking for? Gifts alone, houses a lot of things that we are all looking for. Now, the reason why I really say that inside of your gift is the money you're really chasing for. I can remember when I was developing my gifts, I had, because I've been marketing my gifts to other people. All right. And I had somebody actually get in touch with me and said, Brother Samuel, realize that you're very good at speaking. You're very good at guiding people. Can you come over to our church and let us have you empower our church members? All right. And I was so surprised because people see that I love the things I was really doing. All right. I unleashed the gift and I started using my gift in speaking to empower people. So at the end of the day, when I was actually done with the program, I had somebody just reach out to me and say, and the person who actually organized the program get in touch with me and said, Brother Samuel, thank you so much for actually empowering us. We are really enlightened. And because of this, just help us really manage this very token. And I was so surprised that my gift can actually earn me into getting money coming to me. So sometimes the gift you are looking for, all right, the money we are looking for is already embedded in our gifts. It is until when we actually unleash it and use it to solve problem, that is when the money will start coming to you. If you realize that money is not really coming to you, that's why the part that you're making all the struggles, then you are not really paying attention to something. It's because you're not really unleashing your gifts. So it is very important to really take note of that. Now, you have been able to actually identify your gifts. Then the next thing you want to start doing is to start telling people about your gifts with the mindset that you really want to solve problems, not money. All right, these are some of the mistakes a lot of aspiring entrepreneurs really do. And that's the reason why they're not really making success, especially you want to start a business for yourself. And all of a sudden, the next thing you want to start thinking about is, I need capital for me to start my business. But you forget that your gift alone can actually attract the capital you're looking for. Now, let me actually give a clear example, because honestly, this is one of the reasons a lot of people usually give, especially when it comes to starting up a business. I don't have the capital to really start up my business. And before you realize, months pass by, years pass by, you keep on having this dream, this kind of vision within yourself, and yet you're not really achieving it. Why? Because you have allowed the capital that is not really coming through to you to stop you from actually launching that very business you want to start. And I really want to share it because if you want to actually turn your gift into your business, there are some barriers that actually stand in between you and the business you really want to do. And you have to really kill that barriers. And I'm about to really share some tips with you in order for you to really kill that barrier. You have been able to actually identify your gifts. All right. Now, the next thing you want to do is to ensure that you are marketing your gift to other people. You are telling your gift to more and more people. All right. So that eventually they can actually catch into the vision of what you're really trying to, it's just like, for example, you're prospecting yourself. All right. You have to learn to actually market yourself to people for people to actually buy your ideas. So you start letting people to understand that this is the gift I really have. So should, in case you actually need, maybe you are experiencing some challenges or maybe some problems, just let me know. Then eventually people start getting to know you. You started to actually give yourself some deadlines. because you know that you want to start a business for yourself. So how can you really now turn the gift that you have really discovered in yourself into the business you really want to do? Then you have to ensure that you have to start reaching out to people, marketing yourself. So yourself to other people. You can actually imagine. That's why the part that you don't have the money to really start up that business. You can actually imagine someone just really called you and say, Brother Samuel, or Kasam, or Madam Vanessa, I have a program I really want to organize, and I need a host or a facilitator to actually be the one to host my program. Please, can you avail yourself, Madam Vanessa? I'm just really giving an example because your gift alone is enough to fund the capital you're looking for. You don't need to go out there and seek for loan. All right, you don't need to go out there for someone to really give you money when you have already have the gift that is enough for you to really, attract the capital that you need to start up your own business. All right, so you market your gift and people start calling you, and you deliver your service to them. In other words, your gift to them, and they will be actually transform into like they will, at the end of the day when you're done with it and you did very well. And then someone just really approach you and give you that, please help us really manage this as an appreciation of the effort you actually make. You can actually imagine you use that money, you keep that money, and other people start also really engaging you. All right. And every money you're really making, you are keeping it. You are keeping it. You are keeping it. You are keeping it. Do you know that over time, that money can actually sum up into the money that you need as a capital to really start up your own business? But a lot of people doesn't really pay attention to it. They want to go out there, all right, and see for somebody who is actually going to fund them when they have got already inside of them gifts that they can actually market to other people for them to actually buy into your ideas. So realize that you're really making money using your gifts, unleashing your gifts, using your gifts to actually solve problems. And over time, you're able to actually raise a substantial amount of money for yourself. And you can even dive more deeper into investing money. Maybe, for example, I go for a program and someone just really paid me about 300 Ghana cedis. All right, maybe I go for another program and someone really paid me about 100 Ghana cedis. And I go for another program and someone really, no matter how little or how big that money really is, accept it. Because that money, by the time you are really, bringing it together, saving it together, keeping it together, before you realize it becoming something. So you can imagine you are saving the money, you are keeping the money, all right, and over time, you are also able to actually invest your money into some other opportunities that over time helps you to actually, accumulate more profits for yourself to add to the money you are really making. Before you realize, if you give yourself a goal or a target that within 6 or 3 months, I want to dive more deeper into unleashing my gift to solve problems, and I want to use it. All right, as I'm solving more problems, I want to be investing in it. And before you realize, you are making the money that you need to start up your own business. So if you're an audience that is actually watching me live, instead of actually going to people to actually maybe fund you, you don't need to do that. All you've got to do is just market your gift to other people, and they will start buying into your idea. Now that you have been able to actually be recognized by people, all right, people have really been calling you, all right, to unleash your gift to solve their problems. Now, the next thing you want to do is to ensure that you now start building your brand, because you have to at least, now that you have been gaining audience, or in other words, you have been having customers. This is how I really get started with my business. It all boils down to my gift. I just started using my gifts. No matter how small the money was, no matter how big the money was, I just started using that gift, making more money. And before I realized, I was making more money. All right, because I was having more connection with people, I was having more networking with people, and this is how you can start building. Using your gift to actually turn it into a business. Now, the next thing I started doing that, I now started using my gifts to build a brand. So as I can't remember, I wanted to start a business for myself, and I called it EM Connect Consult. It took me time before I was able to actually give a name to my brand, because honestly, sometimes when you're trying to brand yourself, you want to ensure that you stand out, so that when people are really searching you on a Google search, they don't see the name of the brand you're really looking for. All right, you also have to really stand out when it comes to your branding. So I decided to actually form my brand. All right, and eventually I used the brand. All right, EM Connect Consult. I gave it EM Connect Consult. And I asked myself, what are some of my gifts? So I realized I'm very good at graphic design. So I decided to actually hide it. I'm very gifted at website design. I'm very gifted at content development. All right, I'm very good at marketing. All right, I love talking to people. And before you realize, I catch their minds. And before you realize, they buy into the idea of what I'm actually proposing to them. So I realized that I could still nurture my marketing skills and use it to attract money. So I could apply my marketing into website design, and at the end of the day, attract more people to me. This is how I really get started. So it is not complicated. It's not really overwhelming when it comes to using your gifts to start your own business. All right. Once you have been able to actually build a brand to some extent, then the next thing you want to do, all right, is to start. You need to understand that you can't do it all alone. And this is where a lot of people are really doing mistakes, especially struggling, especially the CEOs or the entrepreneurs. This is where they are really struggling really hard in maximizing with their business, because they want to do it all alone. All right, they want to manage everything all alone. But you need to understand that you need to form a strong team, a team that really believes in what you're really giving. All right, it is not about you. It's about using the service that you actually render. So, like I said, you have been able to actually use a gift and turn it into a services, just like the way I'm actually giving an example right now. All right, and the next thing you want to also really focus on is how you can have more people. All right, how you can actually make more people to actually get more on board with you. So what I'm just trying to say in a nutshell is that you really want to focus. You really want to focus on building teamwork fast. All right, because you need to understand that there are some certain people you can actually reach out to, that your team will help you actually reach out to them. You can't really solve all alone. You need people to be able to really solve. All right. And most of the time, I said that if you really want to solve, then you have to learn to actually crushing yourself. And the only way you can actually discover the full meaning of crushing is when you have people you are really managing. All right. There will be some hard times. There will be some things that you are really expecting you're not really getting right. All right. And this hard times is really, shaping you into what God really wants you to really achieve or become in life. So you must learn how to work with people. All right, form a team that believes strongly in what you really carry or the kind of service you really want to render. And once you're able to actually have a strong team, have some certain things in place for them, maybe like benefits or some of the things that they're entitled to really get. All right, so that eventually when they buy into your idea, they cut the vision of what you're really sharing with them. Then over time, your gifts that you have actually turned into a service, your gift that you have actually done what you actually identify, your gifts that you have been able to actually market to other people, and other people are getting to actually call you in need of your service. Now that you actually have a team, you can actually imagine your team are also making the same efforts, and they're also promoting your business or your service to other people that you can. Okay, I think I really got distracted. Sorry, audience. I got a call, so I just want to ensure that nothing really distract that. So, like I'm saying, now that you are able to actually form your team, and your team are actually going out there to market your services, all right, which all, houses what you are very good at really doing. You realize that you are really reaching out to more people, and that is how your business can start maximizing. That's how your business can start really growing, because now you are leveraging on people, all right, for you to be able to actually build your business. You have been able to actually identify your gifts. You have been able to actually market your gifts to other people. You have been building your gifts within yourself. And sometimes when the part that you actually have your gift doesn't mean that you shouldn't nurture it. For example, I realized that even despite the part that I was very good at talking, I was very good at speaking to other people, I realized that there are some certain things I've not still been able to actually master. So what I did was, like, I started making some research on how I can develop my speaking skills, my presentation skills. So whatever gift that you actually have, it's also very important for you to also really nurture it. It is very important. It's very crucial, because you don't really know everything. Even that's for the fact that you have a gift, you might not really been able to actually be a master of that thing that you are very good at. So you want to ensure that you are really, nurturing it. It is not like we are planting a seed. When you plant a seed into a soil and you don't water it, you realize that the seed will just be there because the nutrient that it needs, which is actually the water for it to really be growing, all right, for it to be developing, maybe form a tree as time goes, and it's not really there. So if you have a gift, it doesn't mean that you shouldn't start nurturing it. You also need to start nurturing it. You need to start planting it. You need to start developing it. All right, you need to start exposing yourself to some certain things that makes you really master to certain things like, and before you realize you are becoming a master of that thing you are very good at, or you are very skillful at really doing. So it is very important that you have to learn to work with people so that the gift that you have actually turned into a business can actually make your business or your brand to actually maximize. So, and also another thing is that you have to really believe in the power of affiliate marketing. All right. I always tell people that if you want to really start a business, it is very important that you have to learn this, you have to master an act of marketing. And I realize that God has placed inside each and everybody of us marketing. All right. Marketing is very essential. It's a very important tool for everybody to really acquire because God has really given you the ability to talk to people, all right, to convince people. Marketing is all about convincing people with the ideas you really have, and everybody's really gifted with that. So when people are really telling me that they're not really very good at marketing, I begin to really ask myself, does it mean that you can't really talk to me right now and talk to me in such a way that I can really buy into your idea? So we can start saying everything. So it is very important that you learn to build or use the concept of affiliate marketing so that your gifts can help you in the process of actually turning your gifts into your business that you really want to do. So I'm just really sure that with what I've really shared so far, it has really gone a long way, all right, into enlightening you on some of the things that you need to know or consider to turn your gifts into a business and eventually even turn your gift into a money-making machine, because your gift alone can make more room for you. Your gift alone can actually make you enough money for yourself that you can use to do whatever you want to do. So, and I also want to say that in the process of actually turning your gift into a business, you need to understand that you need to be committed. Now that you have been able to actually identify yourself, you need to be committed and be consistent at whatever things you are really very gifted at. For example, if you're a kind of person that today you start something, tomorrow you stop it, next week you stop it, next week you come back to it, another week again you stop it, it doesn't work that way. If you really want to make your gifts very very remarkable, identifiable, recognized, you need to understand that you need to be consistent with whatever you're really very good at. And if you do this over time, it will go a long way. And the last one I also really want to emphasize is that you must learn to socialize with people. All right. You must learn to actually meet more new people every day to ensure that your gift is actually being discovered by other people and they're willing to actually buy into the idea. So if you're a kind of person that you don't like networking and you carry something inside of you, then it's actually high time for you to really go out there, socialize with more people, network with more people, meet new people every day. All right. If you're a CEO, if you're an entrepreneur, maybe an aspiring entrepreneur, make a commitment to actually meet new people every day with your gifts. Let them understand that you're very good at this thing. Make a commitment that every day I want to meet about 10 people, 20 people every day and share my business with them. And as you are doing this, you realize that over time, by the time you actually look back, it goes a long way into helping you nurture your business, grow your business with that gift that you actually have within yourself. So I'm just really going to end there for now. I know that we have to really be time conscious. It shouldn't last more than an hour. So, Madam Vanessa, this is actually the part message I really have for the day. So, yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. Such an insightful message.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you very much. Thank you, Prof. Sam.
You're welcome.
We're waiting for a question. And
so I can see that.
What I can say is that
yeah, Vanessa, you can continue, please. Maybe you have a concern or a contribution or a question, anything. You can begin.
Yeah, I've learned today that finding your talent into or making your talent into a business, you have to sit down, think through things, realize something about what you're good at and what will help you or what you're passionate about that will help you in the kind of career or something that you want to engage in for to start a business, and and also to know how you go about it so that you won't get stuck in the process when you start doing your business or start with whatever that you want to do. So I must say that I wasn't doing that, but right now I will start doing that and find what I really, really want to do and what I really want to achieve. That will help me so that I won't get stuck in whatever that I would do. Thank you very much, Prof. Sam. You've
Okay,
really
you are really
enlightened
welcome.
me.
You're really welcome. Just something just really come into my mind, and I feel like it's something I really have to really head up. All right, and I really call it the power of exposure. The power of exposure. Sometimes in life we are tempted to be gifted at some same things, but we need to understand that some people have that gifts that you have. All right, and they have already been ahead of you. They have gone far. All right, they have a lot of experiences. All right, I'm not saying that approach them and try to find out what they should recommend to you so that you know the kind of business you really want to do. That's not what I'm saying. But all I'm just trying to really say is that some people actually knows a lot about what you are very good gifted at really doing. Now, what I'm trying to really bring out of this is that you need to learn to tap into the opportunities or the connections of what other people are really doing so that eventually it absolutely get exposed. For example, you are very good at speaking and realize that you find an industry willing to actually, not only educate you, because now it's quite unfortunate that we have a lot of people out there organizing programs, and when they are done with the program, they forget about everybody. The question is, did they even bother to actually follow up on the people to keep track of the progress that they are really having? I think this is one of the things that we are really getting wrong in Africa, because we are fond of organizing mega programs, but at the end of the day, we are not even trying to really check up on them to know how effectively our program has really made an impact in their lives. One day knowledge is not really enough. One day knowledge is not really enough. It is a consistency in the knowledge you're really bringing to people that brings about the transformation. So we need to actually understand it and get it right. So, and the follow-up can actually comes when we just have a place, all right, one platform where we can help, with the consistency. You can create a WhatsApp platform. You have been able to actually organize your program, ensure that we are able to actually, handle the people on one platform so that eventually you are checking up on them. So what I'm trying to say in a nutshell is that you have a gift. It is very important you have to learn to expose yourself so that exposure, because education is not really enough without exposure. All right. Mentoring is not enough without exposure. If someone really educates you right now, coach you, tell you all the greatest knowledge, all the necessary things that will actually transform you. But if you don't get the exposure on that thing that this person is really trying to educate you on, I'm sorry to say this, you always remain the way you are because you're not getting the exposure of what really helps you practically master that very thing you really want to do. So it's very important that while you have that gift, look for people who are willing to actually give you an exposure on that thing you really want to do. It can be in the area of speaking, it can be any business at all. I'm just giving it in a general sense. So when you do this over time, when you start connecting with the people who can help you get an exposure with the things you are very gifted at really doing, and over time, you realize that exposure is helping you build yourself more and more. And before you realize, as you're marketing your gift to other people, then eventually you're also really starting up your own business. So it really goes a long way. So thank you so much, Vanessa. I know that our time is almost up. Vanessa, I'm sure, do you have any question? It's quite unfortunate that we don't really have much comments in the chat box. But Vanessa, do you have any question in mind you really want to ask me so that at least we use the next 5 minutes or 6 minutes to round up the whole thing, just so we can actually be time conscious?
No, I don't have any question.
Okay. All right. So once again, thank you all so much. I think this is all I really want to share with you all for the day. And if you're really watching this live, I just want to say that it is not just about hearing; it's also about putting them into practice. All right. The Bible says that hearing without doing, all right, is an empty barrel. All right. If you don't put into practice what you're really hearing, at the end of the day, it makes no impact into your life. So, as what Vanessa has really said, all right, if you want to, I mean, yeah, it's not just about education, it's not just about informing, it's also about putting you through a coaching section so that we can actually dive more deeper into the practical aspect of it. So, I just want to say that if you want to get connect, maybe to coaching, to mentorship, you can do what you actually get in touch with our host. I think the number is already on the screen, and she will do what to actually connect you to the right resources. So, Vanessa, thank you so much for really having me. And I know that we are only going to be having more and more of this as time goes on, as a way of actually empowering people. And I really hope that other people will join us right on the screen as we are really displaying right here, so that we can have about 10 people, 20 people. So please, if you are not really with us in the room today, please maybe next week, God's willing, you can do what to actually be with us in the room, so that we can also open forum for questions and answer, and we can make it more interactive and more educational. So Vanessa, thank you so much for really having me. Today is really a pleasure.
Thank you for giving us this insight. Thank you. God bless you.
You're welcome. Vanessa, are you there?
Okay.
So,
Hello.
Vanessa,
I think my network.
yeah, I thought maybe you get distracted or something. So, I think it's very important we have to run
Yeah.
up so that, yeah.
Yeah. So Morning Focus is not only here to educate us or inform us weekly, but we have placed one-on-one coaching, mentorship, counseling session with Coach Sam. So if you want to book for it or kindly or want to have in touch with us, click on the link in the description below in our live streaming or call the number on the screen as we are end. So we are about to end this live streaming. Thank you for the attention, and thank you, Chris, for having time with us. So have a nice day.
Okay, thank you so much, Madam Vanessa. I'm really impressed by your participating and quite encouraging. And to your audience out there, thank you all so much once again. We can't wait to actually be having more and more of this, because I realize that there's so many problems out there, and if we actually really solve the problem, then we actually start relying on ourselves in order to really solve the problems that we're really encountering in our society. We can't always wait for the leaders to solve all of our problems. If we are to solve the problems, it begins with us. So what are we doing creatively? What are we doing to be unique? What are we doing to actually stand out in order to really solve the problems we're really experiencing in society? Blaming is a waste of time. All right. Complaining is a waste of time. It all begins with, what can I do to make the world a better place? What can I do to really stand out? And the more you actually ask yourself this very question, that's when the ideas will start coming to you. But when you're always nagging, you're always complaining, how can ideas from God drops into your soul for you to know exactly what you can really do differently? Complaining never help you bring ideas together. No. Blaming never help you bring ideas together. No. But it's actually your ability or your eagerness or your desire to make the world a better place. That's when ideas will start coming to you. So I just want to dare us, let us all come together and make our world a better place. As Madam Vanessa really said, Sun Network is actually open for collaboration. All right. And my name is actually Coach Sam once again. The part founder. I'm a coach, I'm a mentor. If you want to find out more about me, just go to my website. It's already on the screen right here. And you get to find out more about me. I believe in relationship. The more you're actually in relationship with me, the more you actually get to know exactly who I am or what I am. So it's not about what I'm actually saying right now, but you need to actually get connected to me and see that whether all I've said I can really do that. So that's the only way we can actually get to know more people. So thank you all so much. So, Madam Vanessa, can we end the section now and end the live section now?
Yeah, we can.
Okay, so bye for now.
Bye.